You're welcome back to our class today on Microsoft Excel. This is another day I will be having our master class on Microsoft Excel. So today we'll be looking at something that is part and parcel of us, something that we cannot do without, which is date and time. Date and time are essential part of human life. So also in our work, we make use of time and date. For most of us who are, I know most of us in this group are either accountants or data analysts. So I want to believe there is no way you work without having date. So we have date in almost every part of our life. So also is time. So today we'll be looking at that area. How do we solve so many timing problems? That is exactly what we're looking at today. We only have 2 hours, which is already counting. We are already 17 minutes into the 2 hours that we have. So, without wasting time, I'm going to move quickly into action. So, my name is Abdulhakim Mustafa, and I will be leading the class today. The training is organized by Bradford Concept Consult. Now, we know what time is, and we know why time is. So we don't need to talk about that. But let's look at how does Excel recognize time? What is time in Excel? And how does Excel recognize timing? That is where we'll be starting the journey from. You will notice that so many times when you type date, for example, when you type date in your Excel, you can have something like this. You have something like 45,657, something like 45,962. What does it mean in Excel? It means that every date that we have in Excel has its own number, has its serial number. And the serial number from Excel started in January 1, 1900, which means that the first day recognized in Excel as a date is what? Is January 1, 1900, which is 1. So January 2 is 2, January 3 is 3, and up to today. So up to today, each day that we have in Excel has its own number. That is what the serial number means in Excel. Let me quickly show us what that means. If you look at this, this is a date. Let me copy the same date to this place. So you can see it as a date here. This is a date. But if I press, or then press Ctrl 1 and change this to general format, I'm clicking on general format, then I hit OK. What happened? The number has changed. Still the same number, but this time around, it's showing the serial number of this day. It means that from January 1 till date, we already have 45,748 days between what? January 1, 1900 and this date, which is 1/4/2025. Are we getting it? So that is exactly what the serial number stands for in Excel. Moving forward. Okay, now Now look at this. How to convert from number to general, from date to general. So you can see that to do that, we press Control 1 to get to what? Format cell. And under numbers, we have general numbers. So that is how we convert from normal date to numbers. How do we now convert back from numbers to date? Let's quickly look at that again. Now we have numbers here. How do we change this number to date? That's the next challenge. How do we change this back to date? Press Control 1 again. By pressing Control 1, down here under the number heading, you see what is called date. We have date. Now, under date, you can select any form of date of your choice. Let's say we have this. I want to use this option now, which is a 14/3/2012. Then hit OK. Now, we are back to what? To date, which is the date format 23/12/2012. That's exactly the format we chose. And if you choose that format also, we will have something like that. So I click this, then we have 1/4/2025. Is that okay? Can you confirm if that is okay, if you are getting it? So please make use of the chat box. Now, there is something we should notice. When we have issue with one of the things we notice in our date, when Excel gets your date right, and when Excel does not get your date right. Are you getting me? Okay, let's take a look at that. Sometimes if I type 12/3/2025. So based on your system, the computer system you are using, the timing on your system will determine how Excel is going to interpret this number. The timing on your system, if you look at my system now, we have day, month, and year. We have date, month, and year. That is exactly what my date is. And if you look at this thing fitting into date, month, and year. But it is possible that I'm having something like this. Let's say I'm having month, year, month, day, and year. But because the date here is 3, so sorry, the month here is 12, there's no problem. Let's now do something like this: 23/03/2025. Oh, sorry, let me just 03/03/23. Now, so you see that this number has jumped to the left side. That's where we have the right and the left number. So remember, we have the right and the left number. On the right number, it means that Excel recognizes this as a number. While here, Excel does not recognize this as what? As a number. Excel is seeing this as a text, not as a number. A minute, please. Okay, so we have something like this, which means that even at this one, there is not I may be using this as a month, day, year, but that would not count that as a problem because the number of days, number of months here is still between what 0 is in between 12. That's why this 3 is standing here. So what the moment Excel found your number as a non-interpretable, it's going to throw it on the left side. So that is when you have, that is one of the first things you notice when you are having issue with your date. So that's one of the first things you notice when you're having an issue with your date. So when you have the right aligned in cell, it means your date is perhaps correct, and then identify the date as the date. But when you have it at the left aligned in cell, it means that Excel does not understand it and is not seeing it as what? As the date. So there are different types of formatting that we have in this. So we're going to get to that as we progress in this class. Now, this is just a quick note. You know that when you write date in Excel, when you write 12, 3, 25, Excel automatically understands that this is 2025. Okay, what about if I write 23, 40? What do we expect from Excel? If I write 12, 3, 40, that's what we have. We have 1940. Why? Why do we have 1940? I use 2 digits here. It got it right. I also use 2 digits here, 12, 3, 40. But does that give us what? 1940. So we pray to God to give us a long life. When we get to that time, we will all see how we're going to write that date. So in terms of 2 dates, this is what Excel interprets. Any date between 30 and 99, Excel interprets as 1990 to 1999. And what we have is 20 from anything 00 to 29 is interpreted in Excel as 2029. It means that in 5 years' time, we might not be able to use 2-digit number in Excel. It means you have to write your date in full. In 5 years to come, we are likely not to use 2 digits in Excel, but what? But 4 digits to be able to do report or analysis properly. A quick note, just note that. Now, so I think we get to the end of the first part of the training, which is just like introduction to date. You can see in writing date, we can write date by typing our date 23, 12, 25. You can write your date in this form. And then you can also use a shortcut called what? Control plus semicolon. Control plus semicolon on your keyboard. That's even you have on your screen board. On the on-screen board, just select a cell, then press Control and press semicolon. So you have your date, which is today's date. That is how to quickly write today's date when you are working with shortcuts. Also, we have timing also. We have timing in Excel also. To write time in Excel, we use Control Shift. We use Control Shift, then the same semicolon. Now it becomes colon, which means Control and colon will give us the exact time, which is today's time. This is the exact time we have. So that, and this date will be static. These dates are what? They are static in Microsoft Excel. And we also have the shortcut to format. Here we have Control plus semicolon. Here we have Control plus shift plus semicolon, which is control plus colon, will give us what? Time. When you have your numbers too, we can also use from numbers also from 23, 4, 5, 6. From numbers, you can use control plus 2. Control, we have control plus 2 to format as a date. So let's select this and press Control 2. Control 2. So now, sorry, Control Shift 2 give you time, and Control Shift 3 to give us date. Control Shift 2, Control plus Shift plus 2 to give us what? Date. While Control plus 3 on your keyboard to give us date, while Control plus Shift and 2 to give us time. Exact time that we have. So now let's quickly look at date functions in Microsoft Excel. So we're looking at our date functions now in Microsoft Excel. Any question on any question? Any question on the first part? Please just use the chat box to raise our question. Okay. Okay. So we'll be looking at the date functions now in Excel. So let's look at the functions that Excel has for us to help us with our date. We're going to start with what is called today function. We're going to start with what is called today's function. Today's function. So this function in Excel is useful when you want Excel to always maintain the current date on your workbook. You want Excel to always maintain a date on your workbook. For example, this file, every day I open it, I want to see the today's date. If I use this workbook for report on daily basis, so I don't need to be changing my date every day. What do? Just type equals to today. Equals to today, open the bracket and close the bracket. That is it. We have today's date. So if I open this file tomorrow, what I will have is 2/02/11/2025. If I open this file at the end of the year, if I open this file at the end of the year, I'm going to have what? 1/12/2025, because it is a formula date. Unlike the other one where we use control and the semicolon. This is a static date. This is a static date and it remains this. But this is a formula date. Every day I open this file, it's going to give me this date. It's going to give me the date, the current date on that as at that date. That is how to use today functions in Microsoft Excel. So the next one we look at is date function itself. That is a function called date. a function called what? Date itself. Date function. How does it work? How does date function work in Excel? So that equals to date, open the bracket. The moment you open the bracket, you can see the option you have. Excel is asking for three things from you: year, month, and day. So Excel wants you to give him what year, don't write the date, what is the year in that day? 2024, comma. What is the month? 12. What is the day? 25. So you have the date ready. You have your date ready. It's as simple as that. Now, when do we use this? When you have a table where you have the month, the year, and the date, and you need to form a date from there. That is exactly when we use this kind of formula. What do? Just come to here and type equal to date, open the bracket, select the year, comma, select the first cell for year, comma, the month, comma, and the day. Close the bracket, then enter. I see that Excel has formed my date for me automatically. So I don't need to be doing it manually again. Once I have the date, I have the year, and I have the date. What do? I just use this to extract my date. So can you do that from your hand too? Can you do that from your hand? Okay. So when you are ready, let me know. Type set in chat box. Means you are ready. Type set in chat box. Then we'll move to the next one. Okay. Now, just like we have date functions, each of these are also functions in Excel. Year, month, and day. Each of them are functions in Microsoft Excel. Each of these are functions. It means that year is a function, month is a function, and day is also a function. So you have a date. You want to know which year. What is it? You want to work on the year. What you need in this date are the years in that date. What do? That equals to year. Open the bracket and select the date. Then close the bracket and hit enter. So automatically, Excel will give you the date. You have the year in this date. So if you want to know the exact year in every date, what do you use? Equals to year. Open the bracket and close the bracket. That is it. Then you have the date and the year. Same thing with month. How do we get month? Equals to month. Open the bracket and select the date. Then close the bracket. Excel will return the month for you. This is month 1, month 3, and month 7. That is how Excel extracts your year and extract month. Then we have day. Open the bracket and enter the day. Close the bracket, then hit enter. With this, Excel will give you the day in this day. The day number in this day will be retrieved by what? By Microsoft Excel. That is how Excel retrieves day, month, and year. But mind you, Excel does not return Monday or Tuesday with this formula. We don't know, it says the one return January and does not return February. So when you want to extract the month name or the day name, want to extract the name of a day or the name of a month in Excel, we use text function. We use what is called text function in Excel. Text function. We use text function in Excel. So what is text function? Let's see how it works. So let me come back to, let me delete it, and let's see how text function works. Except equals to text, then open the bracket. Open the bracket. We have value and we have format text. We have value and we have format text. What is the value? It's your date. Okay. If I put three M, and I close the bracket, it means I want to return what? Month. If I make this 4M, I have what? I have the full name. So if I make it 3, text bracket, then the date, comma, double quote, D. All these means full name. Close the bracket, we have Wednesday. So if I drag this down, and you see we have month and the date. So to extract the name of the month, we use what? We use text function. And to extract the name, the number, we use year, month, and day function. Is that clear? Any question on that? Any question on that? If there's no question, please type no in the chat box. Sorry about that. If there's no question, please type no in the chat box. There is question, type yes, chat box. Okay, great. Now, let's now start calculation with our date. We've seen how to format date, how to extract date. Now, emphasis on this. Okay. There are two ways by which there are two things you might need when you are doing analysis. Sometimes you only need the number, the year, the month, or the day. Right? Sometimes you need the number only. So when you need the numbers only, we use this option called what? Year, month, and day. Now, how does that work? That equals to month. I see month, open the bracket and select the date, then close the date. So the moment you close the date and hit enter, Excel will return the month. What month? You're asking for the month from this date, and let's tell you that this is month 1. This is what? Month 1. So if you copy the formula down, this is what? The 3rd month, month 3. Then I will have this, you have month what? Month 7. That's exactly what month, year, and day will return. So you can see examples of their results here. But in the situation whereby you need the name, what you need is not the number, but you need the name. In that case, we use what is called text function. So Text function, how does it work? That equals to text, then open the bracket. We have what? We have the value. Asking for the value. The next thing asking for is what? Format text. What format is asking you? The text asking you, what format do you want? So you now say in double quote, make sure you start double quote, you can say FMF. If you use MMF, it means you want to shorten the number of months, you want to shorten the name, the name of the month. Then you close the bracket. You want to return what? Jan. So you can see what we have here. But if I increase the MMF to 4, you have full name. The same thing applicable to what? Today. Equal to text. Open the bracket. Select the value, comma, double quote, DDD, double quote, close the bracket. We have where. So if you have it in 4 digits, if you use DDDD, you have full name of what? Of the day. Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday. Is that clear, Mr. Abel? Is it clear now? So we can move on. Now, we are moving to date calculation little by little. We are moving to date calculation. Now, how do we calculate the payment time? You are working and then you want Excel to remind you of the day that the payment is due. So, how do we go about that? We are going to focus on that. We are going to use what is called eDate function. eDate. We're going to look at eDate function. Okay. Before we get to formula there is okay, I think we have talked about control, today function, control, and semicolon. Okay, we also have now function. Don't let me skip that. We have now function for what? For time. For time. Just like we have today function for day, we have what is called now. We are coming to the time function. But let's go clear. I don't want to skip that. We have equals to now. When you type now and you close, open and close bracket, don't put anything inside it. You have today's time, exact time that we have today. So you might format this Control Shift 2. You can see you have it as what? As time. Control Shift 2 give us what? Time only. So that is how to use now function. And like I said, with today function, now also will use the current timing. Now we use what? The current timing as per the time of typing. If you look at this time now, this is 2:49. If you come back in like 3 minutes time now, and we hit anything on this, and we refresh this page, the time is going to change. So that time, exact time that we have at that point in time. That is how now function also works. Okay, so now let's move to let me go back here and see what we have here. Okay, we talked about year, month, and day. Okay, so before we move to we have weekday functions too. Weekday functions. Okay, so I think we get there. We have it in we already have it in line. We get there. So let's move to have it in the workbook here. Let's move to what? The payment time calculator. We're going to see what is called e-date function. The e-date function in Excel means the end of day, the last day, the end date, the end date. We are starting today is the starting date. When is the end date of that thing we are talking about? The end date stands for what? Stands for e-date function. E-date. So it equals to e-date. When you click on e-date, it's asking for two things from you. The start date and the so now the start date is this. Let's start date, comma, how many months? Let's say it's 1 month, then close the bracket, hit enter. So you can see this. We have 25. It means that a month after this date is what? Is 15 February 2025. That is exactly 1 month after this training, after this date here. So if you look at the formula here, we have what? E date, comma 1. 1 here stands for what? 1 month. If you need 2 months, you want to know if the payment is due in 60 days. You want to know when is the payment, when is the invoice due for payment. What do you use? Equals to E date, then select the date, comma what? Comma 2. 2 stands for what? 60 days. So it's going to tell you if the first date is January, then 2 months will be what? Will be in March. If we need 3 months, the 3 months will be what? Will be April. That is how we use what? We use e-date function. That's how we use e-date function in Excel. We have e-date, comma, e-date, open the bracket. Then we have the start date. What is the date we are starting from? Select the date. We are starting here, comma, the number of months. How many months do you want? 2. Then close the bracket. We have 2. Remember the serial number. Control Shift 3 will turn it back to what? To date. Control Shift and 3 will turn it back to what? To date for you. That is how we use e-date function. Again, here's another example. We are tracking a renewal, and then we know that this is due after every month or after every year. When is the monthly? We use what? 1. One is annually. We use what? We use 12. See the same number. See the same formula. Equal to e date, then the exact date, comma 1. It means if the date is monthly, we're going to have date. But if it is annual renewal or annual subscription, what do we use? We use e date, start date, comma 12, then close the date. Enter. Bam. Is that clear? Any question on that? Any question on that? Okay. Kindly use the chat box for question, please. Number two C. You have a question? Use the chat box for a question, please. Now, so while you are waiting for your question, let's move on. Sometimes we are not looking at the exact date. We are looking at the end of the month. When you are looking at the end of the month, we use the formula called EO month. We have EO month. EO month. End of month. That is EO month. We use EO month when we are looking for the month end. Perhaps you do a report on every month at the month end, or you want to get something at the month end of a particular period. What do? We use EO month. So how does EO month work? Let's see how it works here. Equal to EO month. We have the start date, which is this, comma, and the end of the month. How many months? 3 months. The left is and close the bracket. So close the bracket. You can see we have the date. Control Shift 3, command at the date. So we have the date 3 months after was April. But unlike E date, this is 15. If it is E date, we will have 15th of April. But because it's EO month, so it's pushing us to the end of month in April. The end of month in what? In April. Let's look at the next one also. Equals to EO month. EO month. The start date is there, comma, 1 3 months, type 3, and I close the bracket. To the end of the next month, Control Shift 3, that is date for you. So we have what? 31st of August, 2025, that is 3. So if you look at this, here we want to know the end of this month. If you want to know the end of this month, what do we use? We use 0. We want to know the end of next month, we use 1. We want to know the end of last month. We want to arrive at a month before or 2 months before. If it is 3 months before, just make it what? -3. 3 months before. -3. From January, you can see January, now October 34. And 3 months before this is what? That is February 25. You have 28th February. From what? From this date. Any question? Any question on that? Okay. On the EO month. The EO month is used to derive the end of a particular month. We want to calculate it in advance. We are doing a transaction and the payment is due at the end of 3 months, at the end of 4 months, at the end of 5 months. So when you have the end of, unlike the E day will calculate the exactly 3 months to come, the exact 2 months to come, the exact 1 month to come. That is what E day will calculate for you. But in terms of EO month will count the number of months and go to the end of that month to extract the date for you. The date at the end of the month is what the EO month will extract for you. Is that clear? So you can extract number of days before, and you can also extract number of previous days. You want to know 2 months before, we use -2. Want to know 1 month before, we use -1. So also here, let's say we have this and we'll make it -1. You can see that it's backward, that's gone back a month before. We want to know a month before this date. What is that date? We have this date as a -1. But when you are going forward, you use what? Positive. When you want to check backward, you use what? Negative backward. Is it clear? Now, okay. Okay. Now, the next thing we look at is what is called calculate the age difference. How to calculate age differences between days. To do that, we use what is called date-diff functions. Date-diff functions. We use date-diff to calculate number of days, number of years, number of months between 2 days. Now, how does that work? Unlike other functions that we've been looking at all this while, you can see that when you type equals to today, Excel will tell you what you use this formula for. And when you open the bracket, you will see what Excel is expecting from you. And see, Excel will be expecting something from you. But what happens when we want to extract, we want to use date-diff, not to come up? Because Excel does not recognize date-diff as a function in Excel. Excel does not recognize what? Date-diff as a function in Microsoft Excel. So, but how does it work? There are 2 things you need to know in date-diff. Equals to date-diff. Open the bracket. The first thing you want to know is the old date. The first one we check is old date, the year of birth, the year of employment, the year of anything, comma, current date, which is today function, current date, comma, then what do you want? Is it year? Put double quote, Y, double quote, close the bracket. So it means that the year was 5 years. It means what? 5 years. When you use equals to date-diff, then we'll have the earlier date, that is the date of starting date, comma, followed by what? The current date. Then you define, is it year or month? You define that. Then you close the bracket. You have to close the bracket. If you want the number of months between the 2 days, what do you use? We put M in between double quotes. 65 months. That's what you have here. We have the year, the month. I want to know number of days between 2 days. How many days are there between them? We use what? We use D. So that is number of days between 2 days, between January 15 5, 2020, and 1/11, 2025. Okay, so that is how we use this D. Is that clear? Up to that stage, I want to add something more. Is it clear up to now, up to this stage? Date div, start date, end date, and the what do you want to return? That is how date div works. Okay, great. Now, I want to add something more. Sometimes you want to know how many months left, how many how many years and how many months. You want to know 3 years, 4 months, or 3 years, 2 months, or 5 years, 7 months. To know the number of months that is left after a year, we use YL. To know the number of months after the year, we use what? We use MY. So let's quickly look at MD. Let's quickly look at that. Now you can see that we have 5 years here. We have 65 months, but want to know 5 years and how many months? What do we do? Come here and type YM. It means we want to know how many months is left after this 5 years. It means 5 years and 5 months. Let's check it. Let's check it. If somebody started in May, then May, that is June, July, August, September, October, November. Now it will be 6 months, but it's not fixed on the one, so it's not for 6 months. It means that it's what? 5 years and 5 months. How many days now left after 5 months? We have equals to date div, open a bracket, start date, comma, end date, comma, then double quote, MD, double quote. We have 17 days. It means that after this 15th of October, we have 17 days left. 5 months, 5 days, and what? And 17 days. That is what gives us 1,996 days between this date and this date. We can also use the same thing for invoicing. We want to know how old is a particular invoice. We can also use what? Date div to know how many months our invoice has stayed outside. So we use today function to know today. This is today function. Because of today, open and close bracket. Now I want to know how many days between this date and today's date. What do we use? We use date div, and then we'll make it put D into double quote. So it's telling us this is what I say, but this one has 56 days. This one has stayed for what? 21 months. And it has stayed for 1 year. So that is 1 year between these days and these days. That is 1 year. But 21 months, well, it's not for 2 years. So we have 1 month here. We have 21 months, and we have what? We have 656 days between the invoice date and the current date. Any question on that? On date D? Okay. Now, the same thing we have what is called work day functions. You can see that we are talking of number of days between days here. But for work day function, work days, we usually use it for future days. We are giving somebody contract today and he's going to finish in 50 days. He's going to finish the day, he's going to finish the job in 30 days. He's going to finish in 90 days. 90 days job. How do we calculate the end date, the completion date? We use what is called what? Work day. We use work day. There are two ways by which you can use work day. You can use work day and without holiday. If you want to factor in the holidays, that holiday between period and that period, between now and that date, if there are holiday between them, how do we factor in the holiday period? We use equals to work day for the bracket. Exam is asking for 2 days from you. The start date, which is this, comma. Then how many days? Days. How many days? 25 days, comma. It's asking for holiday. Whenever you see a formula in a square bracket, it's an optional argument. It means that it's not every time you use it. So I can click OK. Now Control Shift 1. So, Control Shift 3 is date. So it means that 20, how many days after this? 25 days after this date is what? Is 7th of February. But imagine I want to also exclude, imagine I want to exclude any holiday within this period. Assuming there is a public holiday on these 2 days. As a public holiday with these 2 days, and I want to add the holiday to the number of days that the person is going to work. So that we get the exact number of work days between these days and 50 days needed to complete the job. What do we do? Type equals to work day. We have the start date, when it's starting the job. How many days you go to use? Then the next one is what? Holiday. So you have your holiday in a list. Just go and select your holiday and close the bracket. So now, Control Shift 3, back to date. See that 50 days from this date, instead of 14 on the 14th now, instead of ending on the 14th now, there is 2 holidays. You go to head on the 17th. But it's going to shift it across one weekend. So remember, we have the work day. So you're going to count only the work day, excluding the weekend. So now the job is going to end on what? On the 17th of March, 2025. If we get to the end of the second slide, slide that we have for today. So let's quickly go through the slides and see what we have left here. We have seen how to calculate the age, invoices, and deadline. This is for work day. Do we have any question on that? Any question on that? So we'll move to the next.